And then you did this one here. This looks like a Picasso.
It is. I continued with the study. I'm going to make a painting out of this. That was actually for the figure drawing to do 3/4, but I thought I wanted to work in the design concepts of working with grids and stuff. There's they're going to be goddesses, the 3 goddesses. There's also, rather than have the last painting I did, Picasso was in the background. I'm doing myself in the background.
Okay. Now I love the armature in the background too. That's cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
How large are you going to make yourself in the background?
It's going to kind of be sort of like that pyramid design. It'll be kind of not, it'll kind of like fill the space in the center thing with the hair sort of coming down, and then there'll be an ocean underneath.
Okay. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Do you think you could do a preliminary of yourself included for next week's class?
Yeah, I've got it laid out.
On top of all the other stuff I'm going to give you to do?
Yeah.
I've never given more homework than in this class. Okay. Is this yours?
Yeah, that's the still life study, and I'm going to do a painting of that too.
That's awesome. It's a very unusual composition too.
I wanted
really cool.
I wanted to work with the S, and I wanted to work with the circular.
Yes. So you combine them.
Yeah.
It's going to be really nice because you have me involved in the flower here. You know, you have me there, and then up to the persimmon or whatever that is there, and then up into the still life, and it kind of goes around in a circle like so.
Yeah.
And then back down. So that's very intriguing. If I were you, I'd make sure, like, I would kind of vignette it at the bottom left corner here, a little bit here, kind of tone it down, so that helps us stay within the format and not go off in that direction.
Oh, that's a really good thought.
Okay. And let's see, there was one other thing when I looked at it, is that the values of what was going on in the still life here. See, you have many patterns going against patterns. You've got patterns against patterns. So up here, for instance, you've got the patterns of what's inside the pomegranate to the patterns of what's on the outside of the pomegranate to the patterns of what's next to that too. So
but the values can be strengthened.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but this is where you would try to tie things together so they differentiate themselves.
Yeah.
All right. So, for instance, if I'm going to just slightly darken in the pomegranate skin above the open pomegranate there. I'm going to just slightly darken it down a little bit. So that now that separates us a little bit more between what's inside the pomegranate and then what's above it of that fruit that's beyond in the distance. So always look for opportunities to tie things together, right? That's a big design opportunity. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Good luck with that. I want to see it in color. All right. Okay. Who do we have here? We have Gay. Are you here yet, Gay? Earth the Gay?
I'm here.
All right. Oh, sorry. I'll go back. Going once, going twice. Okay. So fun with French curve.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love the French curve. I wish I used it more. You know, if I were a graphic designer, I'd be using it left and right. So was this your first?
Yeah, I wish it were shaped a little bit differently. I'd like to make my own French curve, but
why don't you?
Well, I don't have any plastic. No, I'm kidding. But
you can make them out of wood.
Yeah, I can make it out of wood. That's true.
You could buy you could buy balsa wood. Balsa wood too, maybe and carve it out. You know, there's ways you can do it, and there are different shapes to these French curves, by the way. And
I've got 3 of them. I've got 3 different.
Okay, there are more. There are more.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, the whole idea is not to just like represent the whole thing of a French curve, but just to vary your designs using little segments of the French curve. You don't have to use the whole thing.
That's what I did there.
Okay. Yeah. So anyways, you got in the neighborhood. You got in the neighborhood, and that's all I wanted to do. I'm planting the seeds because there's a future with the French curve. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now you also did this one here. So this is fun. See, I like these. I love, I'm gonna go ahead and mark it. In fact, I'm gonna take it to market. I like this approach here, that one.
Yeah.
That has some fun stuff happening. So you're starting to get the feel for the French curve right there.
Right. That was the first one I did, I think.
Okay. And it all went to hell after that. But no, this is all great. Even this one has potential. This one gets a little bit scribbly, whereas this one here again, that can be painted.
Yeah, I like that one. The one on the left has too many tangents. There's a lot of places where things are meeting up too much. I changed some of it, but
okay.
Anyway.
Well, the one on the right. The one on the right?
No, the one on my left. I don't know. The lighter colored one. The lighter colored.
Yeah, that has a couple. Well, not too many tangents. You've got one up here. The tangents seem to be around the borders. Okay, so that's the issue right there. So you all have to be mindful of when you're doing these drawings. Make sure you allow yourself at least an inch. At least an inch, a minimum of an inch. When you're hired to do an illustration, you've got to have 3 to 4 inches on either side of the format, top and bottom, side to side, just in case, the art director comes and says, hey, could you add a little bit more to the bottom? You can take it down. You've got space to move. Okay. If you're going to get into illustration, that is. You always want to leave yourself some space. Okay. That's the final frontier after all.
That's right.
Okay. And this one here has potential too. This is lovely. That's some really cool stuff. It needs color, right?
Yeah.
It needs color.
Yeah.
Nice graphic. It's a nice graphic, nice placement of the sunset. You've got some interesting things going on. In fact, it would be interesting too to weave things, okay? So I'm going to come here and I'm going to just carry that through here, okay? See how I did that?
No. Where are you?
Look at your drawing, okay? And I just went and I drew up here on
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I created myself a little bit of, I now have this ribbon of light here, and here could be a solid color, and whatever color is here can follow through here. All right, so it's just another way of creating depth and dimension as well. Okay, and this could also be the same color as the other 3. All right, so breaking it up, and then also the sun could come in like that. See that?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Thinking outside the box we are. We could even bring it around like this. Okay, now we've got a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah.
All right. So it's all about the fun zone. All right. So I'm glad you're having fun, and I see your H and your the French curve for your H here. That's good. And then these, the leaf down the bottom, working with the grids. The grids sometimes work and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they intimidate us too much, and we're too caught into them, and they dictate too much, too structural. But like for instance, the leaf seems a little static in this one, and but it could still be a nice graphic if it's handled well with color. Whereas this one here, you've got some symmetry and, you know, some potential for a little Art Nouveau stylization of things to happen, you know. So I'm going to go a little tighter with that. Okay, so these are all good. It's all good. It's just the beginning.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, everything's a beginning. All right, next. Doctor's in. Okay, Alice.
Yes, hi.
Wow, look at you.
That's
Look
my
at
doodle
that.
with the French curve.
Awesome. This is beautiful.
Beautiful.
I hope it's on good paper. Is it on good paper?
Yeah,
Good. All right.
it's small. It's like, I don't know, 5 by 7 maybe.
Okay, that helps. So you really had fun integrating all those patterns and things into
No,
French curves.
I used the French curve for a while and then I just went rogue and did my own curves.
I don't blame you. So when you said you did your own curves, did you do them freehand or did you use a
Yeah.
French curve?
Yeah, I did them freehand.
Okay. Can you tell where you did them freehand?
Well, I know where I did it freehand, but
Okay. I can tell that you did the dark here freehand
yeah.
here. And yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's such elegance, you know, that it's so
It was a lot of fun. It was just sort of let yourself go and
yeah.
mess
So it's
around with
meaningful
it.
doodles. It's meaningful doodles in a sense. I mean, you can use any of these in the future.
Mhm.
I like how all the patterns in this right here are all different. You start to fool around and change the dynamics of them.
Yeah, I tried not to repeat any pattern.
Good.
So that's why I ended up with a lot of white space. I kind of run out of gas.
Right. Well, maybe you need a half tone in there. Right now, you've got just the tone of the line, the tone of the dark contrast. Now, maybe you need to integrate some half tone somewhere.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe around the, I don't know. And half tone could be a quarter tone even. Quarter tone.
Uh-huh.
Like this takes up quarter tone right here. Takes up quarter tone. So where you just want to make sure you want variation is here. Okay, I'm going to go in. I'm going to go right here. I'm just going to kind of, I don't like three things coming together. I don't like two things coming together that are the same, like pattern against pattern, flat against flat, dark against dark, light against light. So I might try something like this just to create a variation in something here.
Yeah.
Okay, so now there's another possibility. All right.
Yep. Yeah, I like that. Thank you.
Just to get you started, okay?
Uh-huh.
There is no end, and there's no beginning. Oh, wait. Last thing. Okay, I love the A. I love how it's going. I love, I think you could have probably worked a little bit more with the same design. I wouldn't throw it away. I'd work with it some more, but I can see where a French curve might have helped you get a little more assuredness on your line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? You know, it's a tool, use it, you know.
Okay.
And if you don't have the right French curve, you know, maybe next time. Like I said, the French curve should be able to satisfy all your desires. You know, different tools have different line, and it'll be up. The more you work with them, the more you'll know which tool to use to get that together. Oh, and there's one more.
Line.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And that's I got interested in the Art Nouveau that you showed us. So I went online and I looked at a whole bunch of them, and then I closed the computer and just tried to sort of do do something Art Nouveau.
Yes. Well, you did.
Beautiful.
You did. Wow. That's fun. It's decorative. Yes?
Yeah.
It's decorative, and there's nothing wrong with that.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's going to be a nice presentation. You could have fun with this.
Well, the interesting challenge was trying to do those weavings symmetrically.
Yeah.
Really a mind messer. You know?
Yeah, that's like, remember the vase?
Going right. This time it's going left.
The
so
vase
that made it fun.
The vase and the face. Hold on a second. I got to plug my computer in. Obviously, I thought it was working here. Oh, wait. There. Okay. Yeah, the vase and the face, where it's left brain, right brain.
Yeah.
It's trying to match that up. That's where a grid pattern will come in handy. If you're working on vellum, for instance, you can put a grid underneath that, and it will actually help you to, achieve that symmetry.
Right.
Okay. So anyway, nice work. This will be a really nice presentation someday. Nice presentation. Okay, moving on. All right, this looks like it's a Xerox right out of the what I sent everybody. Is it? Whose is this? Kurt?
No, sir.
Whose is this? Nicely done. It looks like maybe I've been fooled, and this is what I sent out to everybody.
I think that's what you sent out.
Okay. Well, I've seen, I just love those. Okay, if that's the one I sent out, then stand by here. All right. Kurt, this is you, right?
Yes.
Okay.
French curve.
Yes, the French curve.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
It's sort of Viking or something. I don't know what's going on there.
It's got a combination of that. It's got, a little Celtic, Viking, prehistoric stuff going on. The colors, the only thing that doesn't take me back to that time would be maybe the purple and the green juxtaposed. But if you really wanted caveman time, Neanderthal time, Viking time, maybe stick to the umbers and the golds and things. So
yeah, this is kind of whimsy.
It is. And did you do this by eye, or did you have a grid that you worked on, or
this was mostly by eye.
Okay.
I can't remember. I think I measured some of it out to make sure it came out pretty close.
Yeah. And you used French curves. So
yeah.
So nicely done. Very nice. Same with Alice, though. I want to recommend that looks like you had an idea here with the pencil marks.
Yeah, I was thinking about some sort of a lattice across, and then never followed through.
Okay. All right. Well,
not really a completely finished piece, I would say.
Okay. Well, it looks to me like the possibilities for a Rorschach test. So,
yes.
Okay. So wait, let's just do one side right here. Okay. Let's just look at that side there. All right. Okay. All right. I would pay attention to tangents. Okay.
Yes.
Come together like that, or here. Things come a little too close right there. Values. Maybe overlap a little bit more. Some of your things, instead of aligning right, we got some tangents happening here, design-wise. Okay.
Yeah.
But you have some really nice light starting to happen here. Okay, nice light.
Thank you.
And that's important. So I'm going to just take away a little bit, or I'm just going to draw a little bit over it. Okay, I'm going to highlight it just a little bit more next to that dark edge. Okay, it's going to give the illusion that it's actually coming up toward me a little bit. So were you using colored pencils?
Yeah, this is a watercolor pencil. And I had thought maybe I would add water to this, but again, I sort of set it aside. I went on to other things.
As we do in life, yes. All right, so what I just did, I just increased the contrast there. I just removed some highlight along that top edge right here, which kind of gives the illusion that that plane is coming more up and toward us.
Yes, yes, I like that.
Okay, so that just gives us another illusion to think about. Okay, and that could go on in other places within the painting as well. So don't be afraid to push your values, push your contrasts, etc. Now this is interesting. Did you print this out and then paste something over it, or did you actually?
Yeah, this is a construction.
Okay.
I carefully made that border pattern in Microsoft Word and printed it out. And then I had a format larger than my printer paper, so I had to sort of tape pieces together. So this is sort of scrappily fabricated, but I wanted to give you the idea of what I had designed.
Okay. And I got what you said about being able to turn it around, and it's curt in both directions.
Yes.
Wow.
That's very important.
For those who are dyslexic.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That is so good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I wanted to see if I could make it just a little more.
I was trying to do Art Deco as well.
Yeah, good combination. Okay, I wanted to see if I could, because I was seeing the U, but then the R itself was more of a small R as opposed to a capital R.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
In order to make the K.
Yeah. Yes. So now let's see. A small R is kind of like, sometimes it's like this, right? See what I'm doing at the top here?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So what if we were to take this and go a little darker here? What if we were to somehow repeat that line that you have on the left and at the bottom right here, that vertical line? So you have almost three of them doing that same thing in both directions. Maybe. Would that ruin our possibilities? That's a little longer than probably you wanted to go, but maybe not. So now at least we have something that's an R, and I could be wrong. It's like, how did we make this look more like a small R? I don't know. I don't know.
It already is a small R.
It already is a small R. Yeah, you're right.
Over by the T.
Yeah. Oh, anyway. I like the way you're thinking. I like the way you're thinking here. And I wish this was, when I work on the actual laptop here and I can go in and annotate, I can remove what I've done. So unfortunately for you, this is permanent now. You're in trouble. Anyway, I think this has potential. I really do. I think it has potential. If you like the Art Nouveau, think about, coming over and doing, a few more frou-frous and things like that. Bring these around a little bit.
Yeah, I was feeling leery about too much decoration. I didn't want to take too much away from the back and forth lettering, the calligraphy.
Yeah. The calligraphy, yeah.
but at the same time, it does look a little bare,
It does,
a little spare.
especially in the inner part.
Yeah.
So anyway, keep working with it. Keep
Okay.
working with it, okay?
Thank you.
All right. And then this is the last one. I love this. This was amazing what you did.
This is sort of a nod to M.C. Escher trying to use a motif at different scales.
Uh-huh.
And a kind of wrap around weaving.
What happened here?
Wonderful.
Somebody cut the paper off. I don't know what happened.
Blame
it on the art store.
Really... So
the manufacturer made the paper too small.
Yeah. You know, you got the right idea, you know, you just gotta, that formats everything. It feels like it wants to spin.
Yeah.
You know, I when I first looked at it, it looked like rope. You know, like a sailor's rope.
Yes.
Some sort of maritime configuration.
Braided bread.
I think it's a brain.
A brain.
Of the brain.
A brain. That.
Braid.
Oh, a braid.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that too. Braid. Okay. So when you're going in and finishing things here, I'm going to just critique this here. You've got the contrast of what's happening right now with all your dark and your light. It's pretty solid. It's almost like a notan. It's just black and white. Okay. There's not much softening of the edges and things like this, which you could probably do more of. Okay. Soften, gradate. It's a form shadow. Form shadows have softer edges. So think about, you know, softening the edges, okay, on things to make it look a little more soft. You did it with this one here. Sorry, am I making you dizzy? Yes. You know, this one has soft edges. So yeah, we're looking for consistency of the light on the form.
Yeah.
So form shadows have soft edges. Cast shadows have harder edges. Okay. Nicely done French curve. Okay. All right. Lola. Lola. Are you here?
Yes,
Lola?
I'm here. Hi.
Hi, Lola. Hi.
Hi there.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. This is fun.
Yeah, well, I've got a little logo like this, but not as stylized.
Okay.
So I just brought the Art Deco vibe in.
Yes, you did. Yeah, and I'm looking at the is the logo that you have, does it have color?
That's cool.
No, it's small. This is about 2 inches by 3 inches.
All right. I like it.
And
Okay.
so another thing is I moved the French curve around to make a sort of circle. I didn't want a perfect circle. So as I was drawing the curve, I would shift the French curve, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So it looks more like an olive as opposed to a lemon or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's this one right here.
Yep.
It has the olive going on there.
Hey,
right?
my favorite cocktail.
Yeah. Oh, after class. Okay. Now tell me about this here.
Well, that's the letter A, very stylized. And I know that the chrome in Art Deco would often have lines of shine, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yes. Yeah.
And then I just missed a little spot there where the line went through it, which it shouldn't have. And anytime I paused the micron pen, it would begin to
bleed.
Yeah, bleed. Yeah.
Those damn micron pens.
How do you prevent that?
Yeah.
I had the same problem trying to make that border pattern.
Confidence. Don't stop. Keep
moving.
Different
Whatever you do,
maybe?
don't stop.
Different paper? Would that make it have an effect?
Yeah, maybe different paper. Yeah, not all papers are going to absorb the same way. All right.
Put some fixer on regular paper and then try to draw it.
I've seen pads that say that they're for
Ink?
I can't remember, marker pads, no bleed through.
Yeah.
So they must be somehow treated so they don't drink up the ink.
Yeah. Okay.
That's nice.
Yeah. All I did was just kind of separate a little bit there, so it looks like it's not part of the olive.
It's the shaker, the martini shaker. You know those penguin or bullet Art Deco shakers?
Oh yeah. That's really cool. Now that you mention it. So, okay. Yeah, if it was going to be an A, I would think, how could I convince my audience that it was more of an A as opposed to a fish? I mean, I'm seeing a fish. Of course,
maybe if that hook line of the gill that you're calling a fish were more horizontal, going across, like at a diagonal.
Mm.
Do you see, like underneath this little circle? Maybe if that little tick line, maybe if that went horizontal, it would read
diagonal. Horizontal out, you mean like this? Let's see, wait.
Or more less down and more across.
Wait a second. Come back here, you. All right. Like this?
Yeah, or even more up. So it was like the
or the whole
or you could mimic, you could parallel, you could pick it up to mimic the circle above, but at least bring it over more so it might like be more like a capital A.
Yeah.
Bold capital A.
Yes. These are all good ideas. Okay. So come on.
I used to, the way I usually do that logo is it's straight up and down like a letter A, but I wanted more movement, I guess.
Well, visually I loved it from the moment I saw it, so.
Thanks.
I don't know. I would like to play with it. You know, I would sit there and do different designs, okay, just to see if I could get it to mimic, not mock, mimic.
I did a full page, but it was so messy I didn't want to send it in, and I played with the letters of my full name, which reads as Lark, L-A-R-C.
Okay.
And that's what I put typically down at the bottom of my prints. And there could be a lot of French curves with L-A-R-C script. So I could play with that some more too. Oh yeah, that's cool.
Okay, now we at least get a little bit more of an idea. A little bit more symmetry going on here.
That's cool.
All right. Anyway.
Looks a little more like an A.
Yeah. A? All right. Anyway, Lola, thank you.
Thank you.
Who's this? Sandy. Sandy's here?
I am.
Hi, Sandy.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, so you were working with French curves and on grid paper. Nothing harder than to work with French curves on grid paper.
Yeah.
Because the grids, even though you're not going to pay attention to, you know, the French curve just wants to be a really nice free-flowing design that has some specificity, but the grid pattern in combination with it can constrain you. So, and I see the question mark. I get your message like, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Why am I doing this? Why is this so hard?
Thank you. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine. And it's just small, and you're playing with it. Any one of these is a start. I like this. This is a nice little logo here. I mean, it can be a nice little logo. Now, you just want to be careful that, you know, unless if it is a logo, you know, this one works. Oh, I got to bring back my, get rid of my eraser and bring back some color. This one here has potential for a serious logo. I mean, the way you've presented it, offset, etc. The sphere and the semicircle there has potential. Where you run into trouble is sometimes if you have too much of the same thing, like the width of this and the width of that and the width of this, they wind up all being the same. Could be problematic.
I wasn't sure. I thought that actually might be something that was necessary, and I was trying to make it look like you could see that there's an S and a P there. I struggled with it. It's obvious.
Okay, so all right, I understand. Okay, so the S, maybe, what if instead of having the, do I want to erase it? Yeah, I want to erase it. If you were to remove this down here, get rid of that, and wind up, if you wanted another circle, to complete the S, maybe have the S be here, or the dot be here.
You know, I have one that's exactly like that. I didn't send it to you.
Okay, and then you can even do a serif here.
Mm.
You know.
Yep. Yeah, that was my second to last one. Had that circle there, and then I did it. I erased it and made the question mark.
All right. Well, okay. So sometimes first thought's best thought. Okay.
Noted.
All right. Here we go. Wendy.
Yes.
All right, Wendy. The ayes have it.
Yes.
All right.
The tribute to Escher again.
Okay. Again, you know, I'm glad you were still willing to work on a grid paper with French curves. Look at all that information in there. My goodness. Next time I'll have you do vellum over a grid.
Oh, okay.
You know, so when you lift up the vellum, you just see the drawing itself, and you don't see the grid pattern.
Yeah.
So this is a nice doodle. Nice doodle. When you say it's a tribute to MC Escher, did he do something like this?
Yeah, he did a thing. I saw a thing similar. It was like the two orbs on top of each other, but the theme was more, I don't know if it was snakes or fish. I think it was fish.
Okay.
And then, so I kind of saw that and then did this without looking back at it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to do one thing here.
Okay.
I'm going to, actually two things. I'm going to darken down. I'm just going to create, I'm going to create a little solidity here. I'm going to create some patterns here because I can.
Yeah.
To try to tie things together and make them a little more,
yeah.
Sometimes if you have too many patterns, you want to simplify. And remember the saying, not too much of any one thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I thought about doing that. So I'm glad you're doing it.
Well, someone had to do it. So in the future, you know, take it as far as you can to the point of ruining it.
Okay.
Okay. It's important to be willing to ruin something from the outset.
Right.
Because then out of the ashes can fly the phoenix. Okay. So
Yeah.
Is this yours as well?
Yes, I just copied what you sent.
Good. Nice. So you may not know why, but you did learn from it.
Yes, I did.
And these little doodle patterns and things may come out in a future drawing or something that you might do.
Yeah.
You never know. The seeds have been planted. The key to unlock the subconscious has been turned. And now it all is going to come down to when you use what and how. And plus it was practice for you to study somebody else and you know, not necessarily take the ball and run with it, but you know, to have the discipline to try to forge something or just copy for a little bit, just a little bit of time. Mm-hmm. And like I said, now the seeds have been planted and you have all these possible choices that you can make in your own time in the future. Okay. Yeah. What happened here?
I didn't like that, so I tried to erase it, and I did the other one.
Do you want me to erase it for you?
Sure.
I'm just kidding you. It's okay. Now, your logo, nice. Nicely done. I get it.
Yeah, I had a few others, and I just actually sent you one that I had used the French curve on.
Okay.
And this, I started using the French curve, but the bottom of the W's looked too much like a tush.
Oh, now you're thinking below the belt.
Yeah. So, but I thought I'd go with the wind theme.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now you got to be careful about redundancy of pattern. Okay. Redundancy of pattern. They look like a tush because they look like a tush. So you were on it and you have your critical eye happening, and this is a good thing. I'm glad you've got your critical eye. I'm going to try to match up the color of your paper here a little bit more. Okay. Maybe you want to, I don't know. I was going to make the tapering of the W's a little lighter, maybe like a wisp. Yeah. A wisp.
Yeah.
So they're not so. I got to go a little bit cooler here. Okay. Just a little less prevalent, so they like get blown away with the wind. You know, they disappear.
I started doing that with them higher. You can see there's some erasures.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and then I decided I needed to contain it. But yeah, I like that. Make it more wispy.
Yeah, more wispy. Whimsical and wispy. All right. Have them disappear.
Yeah. I've worked with W's also. You can make the bottom of the W pointed, and it will, you know, it'll still look like it's blowing away, and it'll still fit in with the cursive, you know, the other letters.
So pointed.
So that I don't know what to call them. That you know, like there's a double figure in a W. So if those come to points instead of rounds, it'll still look like it's blowing away. Like a fishtail, sort of.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody, these are all good ideas, right? And this is what you doodle thousands of times in order to get to the right configuration. Don't just settle on the very first thing that comes to mind because you have a deadline. Yeah, we could work with this.
No, that's a, I don't know, 5th or 6th iteration.
Okay, well, we need the 10th one.
Yes.
Yes.
I ran out of time.
And by the time you get to that 10th one and it finally works, does not mean that any of the 9 that came before that weren't part of this process. Okay?
Yeah, you know, I went in on my drawing and changed it to more of a pointed. Yeah. And it does. I see how that works. I don't know why I didn't think about that.
Well, there you go. It just because you had to go to the tush first.
Yes.
You had to experience the tush.
Yeah.
Oh, this is really interesting. I mean, anything can happen now. I mean, now you can come in. I mean, I'm starting to see things like a snake, snake eye here. I'm starting to see things like, a serpentine or something that's, a possibility of, I don't know. That's just me.
I wonder if there's a way that you can work the design where the lens of the camera is somehow implied. It could be that it's just circular, with a dark background and the Wendy Warner is in it, photography. I don't know. It was just a thought that I had.
Yeah, I have a few iterations with different things.
Last thing I'll say, how about, I like that. How about pieces of the W getting blown away by the wind? Something like.
Oh my goodness!
Like a leg of it getting blown away?
Yeah, like the wind is carrying off like leaves off a tree.
I love that.
That's a great idea.
This is the illustrator coming out in me. It's just
you
something.
Should have them related to the dot on the eye. So, like they.
Yeah. That could even have things blowing away. So, not too many. Anyway, great ideas, everybody. Great ideas. Okay.
Thank you.
Now, you're welcome, Katie.
Photography will blow you away.
That's correct.
Yes.
That's correct.
That's my new motto or whatever.
So Kathy, I'm sorry about this. I don't know what happened. The wrong assignment got sent out, and I did correct it. I did correct the assignment, and but I'm glad you did.
Oh, we're not supposed to do that?
You weren't supposed to do that. No, it was so weird.
I'm sorry.
Well, you got yourself a nice little drawing anyway.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. The only thing I'd say with it is look for an opportunity to darken down the shape in the foreground here. I'm going to just go right in like this. I'm just going to.
Yeah, I was using watercolor pencil. It seems very difficult to get really dark, but yeah, you're right.
Just darken down the foreground. Find some shapes or whatever that's going to be add to the possibility of you moving your eye into the background. Okay, I don't know what the image is like, but just check that out. Okay. Anyways, nice job.
Okay.
Let's see what you did with your. Here you are with your logos here. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I used the graph paper, and then I used the French curve, and then I did a doodle.
Yes. Good. This is fun. That's got some magic to it.
Very fun.
You better go in this direction, kid. That's really funny. Now, yeah, you got the eyeball up on the top here. It's like
yeah, she's got mascara, lipstick, and high heels.
That's really cool. That's funny. Yeah, I like the teeth. The teeth aspect. Oh, I see. Okay, so this is a person standing, and he's almost like coming at him in the front, coming in this direction. All right, and then
the one on the left is a lady.
Is a lady.
She's got mascara and lipstick and high heels, and the one on the right it's my male and female side.
Okay. Very interesting. This has potential. I like how you changed the shapes of the K. Made this one a little rounder here, that one a little rounder there, and one needs a tongue. Who gets the tongue?
Yeah. He's got the tongue.
He's got the tongue. Okay.
I was going to put a lit cigar in his mouth, but that didn't work.
Yeah. this has a lot of potential. It really does. I hope you continue to work with it here. KZ, to me, it was looking a little more like a 2 on that one.
Yeah.
That's all. This looks more like a KD.
That's too vague, yeah.
Yeah, KD. But this one starts to work up here. I like the negative space usage there. Definitely like the how they tie it together in there. This would work nice as a bold graphic, I think. Instead of so many balls in the middle, you know, what would it look like simplified? Oh. Because a graphic can be just simplified. I know you spent so much time doing all these little dots and things. Sorry. I'm going to tie them together a little bit so it makes kind of that shape. Now, I love this shape here in the middle. It almost looks like a parallelogram, but it's not. It's more trapezoidal.
Yeah.
Is that the right word, Kurt?
It's a very nice quadrilateral.
Yeah, that's it. I knew there was a term for it, Kurt. Thank you. Okay, that is cool. I like that shape. So you might think about emphasizing that shape in the design. And doing something with that. I don't know what, but and don't let it keep you up at night. But it is a possibility for something else to happen graphically. Okay, whether these are solid colors that surround you or not. Like you start to have it right there, so you are already on track. I think those little circles kind of take away from it. I don't know. There's so much potential with this. So I hope you find the logo of your dreams. That's interesting. that's interesting too. This one right there. I think you just need to keep working on this. Okay? Keep working on it. Keep it simple. And sometimes the best things are the most simple. All right.
Thanks.
Norm left. Norm left the building. This was just an interesting doodle that he had done that it had all these really cool dimensions to it. And I'm sorry he had to leave early because he's playing with space like a surrealist there. Yeah. So anyway, Norm's gone. Let's keep moving. That was Norm 2. Norm 2, 3, 4. Okay. This is Rin, are you here?
Yeah, I am.
Hi.
Hi. I kind of went overboard, but
I'd rather you go overboard in this direction than the other direction.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
It's a P and an F. So if you flip it, yeah. But I was thinking of turning the F into an E and then actually doing another F, so it would be a little bit more fluid, but.
Okay. Oh, I see the F. The F is here, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, PF.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, you got the right idea as far as creating these beautiful patterns stylistically. I would look for opportunities to tie more shapes together rather than having so many patterns for your lettering that it becomes a little distracting. and I get so into the patterns I forget what they're representing. So that's just my opinion, though, right? I mean, you spent so much time on this. I'm going to go in and ruin it now. I'm going to go in and just try to simplify and tie some shapes together here. Just a couple.
Okay.
Right? Just to see what it would look like if we can bring back the fact that it's an F.
Yeah.
And not a carnival ride.
Okay.
Not that I don't like carnival rides, but you see, just by doing that alone, just tying a few shapes together helps to clarify what it is we're after, which is your initials.
Yeah.
Okay. Simplify. I love the heart in the bottom. We can leave the heart, but we'll get rid of some of the patterns around the bottom there. So now, just by doing that, we stand a greater possibility of it saying what it is you want us to see. Okay?
Okay.
So keep going on it and think about tying shapes together, okay? There's another thing that you did here. You did this. This is the French curve.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can see a lot of your preliminary sketching underneath it as well, too, that you've erased. So it's nice. It comes out to be.
Yeah, I want to erase it.
Say that again?
Oh, it's just kind of like, I wasn't exactly sure what I was going for, but wanted to use the French curve, so.
Well, you're right on the cusp on this one. This becomes, it's becoming figurative, and I like that, right? I mean, this is becoming the head, for instance. I'm getting a head out of it. I would think maybe you want to leave that and come down here in the bottom and go ahead and configure some of these other notes down here to represent something else, maybe a part of the anatomy or something else that's waiting to happen. Doesn't have to be that dark or light, but maybe that's where you want to go with this.
Yeah.
Right? So it does look like a figure. That's just an idea. Anybody else want to mention anything to this one? Okay. And you did one more, Ren. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, let's do this. I like this one. I was so happy when I saw this. I just love the colors. I love the,
Red Noir.
Yeah. You're good with color.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very painterly and lively, and has a lot of vitality to it.
Yeah. I did that one after the rendering of the other landscape, and I had been trying to be so precise on that other one. So this one, I just went for it.
Good for you. Good for you.
Is that oil pastel?
No, it's acrylic.
Oh, cool. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
you have a beautiful, unfettered imagination and a willingness to allow whatever wants to come through in a really creative way. It's refreshing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this has a lot of potential. What is the size of this?
I think it's 7 by 8.
What is it? 8 by 8?
I think it's 7 by 8. I can
7 by
check.
8. Okay.
It's a little, yeah.
Yeah, so it looks square. So
yeah, it was square with the photo that I took, but it'd be maybe good to actually make it square. It works well on that.
Yeah, or is it taller than it is wide?
I think it's a little wider than it is tall.
Oh.
In
Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, I like this one. We can play with it. I like seeing your grid pattern underneath here. Thank you for doing that. That armature, that's very helpful. And I would not mind if you erased some of that. If you wanted to, because it can become a little annoying in the future, and we don't want it to be annoying in the future. This is yours as well, right? Or is this Wendy?
Yeah, that one's my doodles.
Okay. Okay, good doodles. Good doodles. This is interesting here. Any one of these can become a world.
Yeah.
Any one of these can become science fiction. It could be a background. It could be, a total. Even this can play into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hello. Where's my George Jetson spaceship here?
Yeah.
I mean that's so cool.
Yeah.
It really, it's science fiction, and that's where my mind goes. So nicely done. We're going to take a look at a few more doodles. Let's see. The last thing was your Japanese print here. Okay, nice job on stylizing the trees. That's fun and painterly. I would, if I were you. You don't have to, but I'm a little partial to the moon. I have this ongoing love affair, and I would go into it, and I would just bring out the gold, the lightness of it a little bit more.
Okay.
Just because right now it looks a little polluted and a little too influenced by the blue, so I'm going to lighten it up just a tad for you.
Okay.
And make it more seductive.
Yeah.
All right, because the moon is the ultimate seductress.
Mm-hmm.
And it has been since the beginning of time. So bring it out a little bit more. Make it a little more sexy.
Okay.
Have a little fun with it. Nice job on the reflections, and it's fun. It's fun. You just had fun. Bottom line, fun. Okay? All right, so it's 10 o'clock. Larry's going to be here in an hour. So what I'd like to do, I'd like to take, everybody get like 4 minutes, take a 4-minute break, and then we're going to get into the next part of this class here.
Hey, Thomas, I just sent my homework at the beginning of class.
Okay.
If there's not time to go over it right now, it's fine.
Well, we'll get to it at the end of the class, okay?
Okay.
I sent mine too.
Who's that?
That's Nicola.
Nicola. Yeah, I saw it coming in. We'll have to get to it at the end of the class because.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
All right. Okay, Nicola. Okay. So I'm going to go on here right now. I'm just going to take screenshots of who's in the class, and then I'll fill in everything else later. Let's see. All right, 4 minutes.
Thomas, it's Julia. I have.
Hey, Julia. What?
Hi, how are you? Happy
Good.
Thanksgiving. I have something. I have my initials as well that I.
Okay.
And sorry, I wasn't at home last night, but I can send it now. And if you don't get it, then you don't have time to go over it. That's okay too.
Go ahead. No, go ahead and send it. We'll do it at the end of class. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. I'd be hustling here. Dylan, Jogan, Nicola, Stacy. All right. So, and the reason why I brought it up was because of Dylan had asked about what class I was teaching in January, and it's a color exploration class. And this would tie into that color exploration class when we handle, blue, for instance. Okay, and things that are blue and blue harmony. All right. So
Thomas, is that real?
Yeah.
And
it's
where's
real.
it from?
Myanmar.
Oh.
Right,
okay.
Dylan? Myanmar. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna pause the share here and stand by here. I want to get rid of this now. That is done. Thank you very much for sharing. Okay, so onward and upward. We have an hour. And here we go. I wanted to share this first off. When Larry comes into the class in an hour, he shared this with me, knowing that the assignment that I had given you was to deal with the French curve. And this is a painting done by a fellow artist friend of his. This is an artist proof of a print. And it's so it looks three-dimensional, all due to the use of airbrush and Frisket, and in the painterly quality using the French curve. So if you can see this, you can see there's different styles of French curves. Okay. Anyways, I thought it was just a beautiful rendition, how to make something three-dimensional on a two-dimensional surface. Okay, topical. I want to share this with you. I know that I've given you guys assignments on doing still life, and this is something that was given to me recently, and it's very similar to what you find in art schools. I remember when I taught a couple workshops at the Scottsdale Artist School.
Mm-hmm.
At the Scottsdale Artist School, I looked in some of the rooms, and they would have 20 of these stands for the still life painting that was going on there. So it's just plywood with a platform on wheels, and you can adjust the height of this, and you can drape cloth over this area here, place your still life here, and then you can put a stick with a lamp or a light from the top, and you can configure the lighting on your subject matter so it would be consistent. So here's an example. I just threw this together yesterday just to show you, what it looks like with lighting on your still life, right? And this is not the optimum picture, of course. I just threw some items together, and it could be composed even more nicely. But the idea was for you to see consistent lighting on your still life. Okay. And so there you go. All right. Now, before we get into it, I want to show this to you. Let's see. Well, maybe I don't. I will send you this link here. Here we go. All right, this is, I want you to listen to this. Just about 5 minutes long.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Step Asleep Glover, and today we have another Canon Design Quick Tips, and this one we're going to be taking a look at Annie Leibovitz, this pretty epic, haunting image of birds flying after these people. Reminds me of the movie Birds, if you've seen the Hitchcock movie.
My grandfather won an award for doing the sound on that movie.
So the purpose of these videos is to introduce you to these techniques, keep your skills sharp, and help me change the future of art. So let's get right into it. Let's take a look at the grid she's using. It's got the 1.5 major area divisions here, and we can see how she's locking in the bird here. Her arm is locking in here, paralleling right here, this Baroque diagonal. The hand is locking in here. The distant mountains are locking in here. And she's got this guy locking in. We added a line here. The intersection point is called an eye. So if you run a line straight up and down, you can use that intersection point and you'll be adhering to the geometry within this rectangle here. So that's why you use added lines. I would try and work with the grid that you're presented with first, and then if you need more lines, more diagonals, then configure it as you need. We can also see how this is definitely a composite. Whoever's compositing this was using the grid to help plot these birds as well. You can see how it's paralleling this Baroque diagonal here, this bird here. This one's locking in here with the same diagonal. That's the sinister reciprocal diagonal. This one's paralleling over here. That's the sinister reciprocal diagonal. Okay, so he's using the grid to help organize the composition and plot out these different elements within the composition. And one important technique that I've been failing to point out, because most of these masters use it every time, but it's figure-ground relationship. So that's when the foreground and the background fit nicely together like a puzzle piece. You don't have conflicting contrast around the subject. So she's got a nice blank background here, so it allows this character to be separated from the background and we can easily identify him. So even this aerial perspective in the background helps us control the contrast around him, so he's popped out in the foreground and not blending in with the background. It's a very important technique, and I should mention it pretty much every time we cover these, but also this, they're not placing birds right behind her head, which normally if this was an actual scene, you wouldn't have perfectly placed birds. But they've organized this composition to have great figure-ground relationships, so you can easily identify this bird, see there's no birds behind this one. Basically run an imaginary line around the subject and look for conflicting, contrasting areas. So here's aerial perspective helping us, plus the light figure on the dark background also sticks out, and then you can see it fading a little bit here. So if you squint your eyes, this actually fades quite a bit, which is fine. It adds to the depth, but the most important parts of each of these subjects is clearly defined against the background because of figure-ground relationship. Always keep that one in mind. So the next technique is gamut, and those diagonals are derived from this 1.5 dynamic symmetry grid. And you can see how they're repeating the diagonals within the birds, the arms, the gown. You can see this line coming down here. This is the reciprocal sinister diagonal. It's found in the wing, it's found in her side here, it's found in the gown here, right here, this big ripple of the dress. It's in the wings up here, her arm here is paralleling there. So that's the gamut, that's the law of similarity at work. That's a Gestalt psychology principle as well. It's a hidden rhythm and it creates unity. Here we've got this arabesque coming across. You can see how it's curving down the bird, and then her arms are specifically placed to create this arabesque. And this gown is flowing, creating that nice movement and unity around there. Also got it coming around her head. You can see how her arm is curved. So this down here, and her arm's curving up. And then the dress, the thing she's got around her neck, the fur shawl or whatever, it's coming around here, creating this sweeping arc across. Okay, so that's the arabesques. Nice unity and movement right there. Okay, and then the last one we mentioned is aerial perspective, which helps create that depth and atmosphere. She's using it to pop these subjects off of the background and create depth within these birds as well. If you were compositing this, you wouldn't want all the birds the same black color, same dark color. You'd want to She's got them blurred out. She's got them faded into the background, which helps create that depth within the atmosphere. So that's Annie Leibowitz, and if you guys have a master that you'd want me to look at, leave a comment in the section below, and I'll get to that as soon as I can. But thanks so much for the support, and I'll see you in the next one.
Okay. Let me share. Okay, you all still with me?
Yes, sir.
All right. He had another one, this Tavis Leaf Glover. He's definitely worth researching, but and you know, spending time because he's broken it down better than anybody else I've ever seen. So now last week, last week I had mentioned John Singer Sargent and the influence that he had in his design work, as well as, let's see, we were talking about Moorish architecture, especially here in Santa Barbara, and how in the 19th into the 20th century, there was an aesthetic, especially mid-19th century, there was this mystique around Northern Africa and the influence of the North Africans and the Moors into Europe and how they influenced the architecture. Well, our local architect here in Santa Barbara, George Washington Smith, helped to create what we look at and know of as Santa Barbara's Spanish-style theme back in the 20s after the earthquake in 1925. So the other, about 2 years ago, I was given the opportunity to go here in Carpinteria into what's known as the pool house right here, what they call Casablanca. It's right by Santa Claus Lane. And so I did some research into the architecture that George Washington Smith had used and to create this pool house. This was his design. So what I did was compile a few pictures. This is the pool house here, the Moorish architecture of 1920, probably 1925. You can see this is the pool house here. Since then, a large part of what was surrounding it that was a Moorish in architecture had been washed out in a big storm, I think in 1947. And so this is all that remains of the Casablanca that was there. So I'm going to just run through this really quick. And I'm going to show you a couple of paintings that were done by John Singer Sargent from that time. You can see his pencil rendering underneath here, and his the structure of his armatures are going to start to come through. If you look over here on the right-hand side, you can see an armature happening right here and right here and right here. They're seeping through in his design. So he wasn't just randomly drawing freehand to give you some structure. He was actually drawing the armature first and painting over the armature after he had designed the contours of the sketch. You can see another armature happening right here on the right-hand side there, and they get better as it goes on. So these are paintings that he had done from life in North Africa on one of his adventures down there. A lot of mystery, just small sketches. It's all these are, just to capture the light and the structure and the abstraction of the piece. This one I love the most because you can see an armature, a line here. It's not quite the sinister line, but it is a diagonal that's running down and along and through here. And let's see, you can also see, well, I have another one that has a more defined line, but you can see them coming across here, and you can see them here. You can see where they line up with the subject matter. Okay, so even John Singer Sargent, who's known to be one of the most incredible artists of the 19th and 20th century, used the armatures. All right, I just threw these together. I'm going to go through these really fast because we're going to run out of time. These are paintings that John Singer Sargent did, again, with the same theme in mind in North Africa and the Casablanca theme. man was a brilliant artist. I love the abstractions of the piece. Notice how things that are not important are tied together and abstracted. But where he wants you to focus your eye for however long it is, he gives you the light dark contrast, pattern work. Okay. Whoever thought of, you know, putting a turkey down in the bottom?
That's amazing.
He was also known, John Singer Sargent was also known for, as you remember that alligator painting that I showed, taking something that was insanely detailed and mundane and making something beautiful out of it. Beautiful light, dark contrast here. Like this is a study in white. So if you go to the paint store, there's over 400 shades of white. Because white reflects everything around it. So his eye was able to configure reflected light everywhere. This painting on the right here is really interesting as well, because I think you can see, maybe this isn't the one, where you can see some lines, some preliminary sketching with pencils to design the configuration. You can see a little crossing action here. Some underpainting color.
Beautiful color.
Yeah, beautiful. Again, more mystery. This is a watercolor first, and this is an oil painting after. He would do his watercolors to warm up for his oils. Okay, so here's the Casablanca. I don't know how many of you, has anybody ever been in the pool house?
No.
Okay, so if you go by Santa Claus Lane and you look in the back, you'll see this building right there. And this is what it looks like inside. This is George Washington Smith. So I'm walking around like, oh my God, this is like North Africa, right? I mean, the beautiful photographer's dream here.
And who's there now? I don't quite understand the situation.
Okay, there's 4 houses, 4 or 5 houses that are apartment buildings. That this is owned by all of them. In other words, it's a homeowners association that takes care of this. It's a community room. So back in the 19th century, I mean, there was, like I said, this mystique about the Arabian Nights, and there was especially here in Santa Barbara, there was a move and a drive to bring this aesthetic into our Southern California culture. Okay, this is some of the new buildings that they built there. Have these beautiful shades, architectural motifs here. This is Art Deco. This is original here in the pool house. All right, this is inside the pool house now. So this goes back to 1925.
Huh. You should see the inside of this Moorish house that when we do our walks.
Obviously, they have a pool table. This is the entry room here.
This is not open to the public?
No, this is private. Foosball. Okay, this is some of the decorations of the marble around the fireplace here. Okay, now we're all going inside the pool.
But Thomas, you got to get us in this place.
So this roof, this is the pool house here. This roof opens up.
Oh my God.
It allows the daylight to come in.
Our future.
The guy who built it once drove a
what?
The guy who built the pool house once drove a
car,
I think a Pierce Arrow or something, into the pool.
Yeah.
During a party.
Yes. Yeah, that's how they used to party back then. Yeah, that's the classic tale. So anyway, I'm going to just keep running through these because we're got to move on. You know, and then this was all part of the mystique, the harem, the whole Moorish influence. this tile work is amazing. And the floors, down to the detail. I'll just show a couple of more and then we'll move on.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, the man who got me in was the attorney representing the homeowners association there. He's an art collector of mine, and a patron, and which is redundant, right? Anyway.
Down in Malibu?
No, right here. This is right here in Carpinteria, behind the Santa Claus Lane. This is an original photograph from the 1920s of what it looked like. That's what it looks like today. So it's basically timeless.
You have to wonder where the tiles were made.
Yeah, good question.
I know there was a Malibu Tile Works at some point, and
yes,
it was quite big.
This lamp, I mean this lantern. It's like, who thinks of these things? There's an original photo. Anyway,
I think that was a period when they actually imported quite a lot. You think about whatever the hell it is up the coast, the giant, pseudo North African palace.
Hearst Castle.
Yeah, Hearst Castle. You're right. Yeah, absolutely.
They used to either go over or send people over to buy stuff and ship it back if they were rich enough. Absolutely.
And then, George Washington
Smith used the train.
Europe a lot. He went to Spain. He went to Mexico. Got a lot of his ideas there. He sent Luda Riggs as well. She was his assistant, and they all came back with ideas, and that's how they were able to create these little motifs around this area. Okay,
that pool house looks like it could be in Morocco.
That's right. That's the point. All right. So anyways, I just wanted to give a quick where we've been here, a quick timeline of what we've been experiencing and how we're going to move on with this right now. Arts and crafts period, the asceticism of not too much of any one thing. The Spanish flu right after the World War I lasted a couple of years. We're only into 3/4 of a year now of this pandemic. The Roaring '20s and prohibition and conflict, all the architecture, everything that was happening, the booming society after after winning World War I, and then of course prohibition and the designing of drinks. I've learned recently that the whole speakeasy concept was a way of getting around prohibition, and the whole terminology and philosophy of mixology and designing of alcoholic beverages were done in a way that if you were suspected of drinking alcohol, you would design the drinks to make them look like something else other than alcohol. So that's where mixology came into it. I don't know if any of you have seen Midnight in Paris, the movie, but it heavily goes into the 1920s in Paris in that. It's well worth seeing if you haven't seen it. Okay, we're going to deal here with the School of the Arts this week and next week, the faculty preaching aesthetics versus modernism and how that there was a total split in the art world here. We're going from.
I just want to add something.
Yeah.
In the context of the Moorish influence, and a lot of that is attributable to Bertram Grosvenor Goodhue, who came out to the West Coast. He won the bid for the Panama, California exposition in San Diego, 1915. He brought his junior partner, Carl Winslow, with him to do that project. They ended up doing projects in LA and Santa Barbara, including Casa Dorinda and the Montecito Country Club. So, but
they also did the library
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah,
the facade
and,
on the
Carlton
library.
Winslow took over from James Osborne Craig when he passed away.
Correct.
To
Street
do
in
the
Spain.
El Paseo, and the Street of Spain. Yeah.
Also,
Okay.
don't forget the earthquake in 1925, which knocked down all the old brick buildings on State Street that were made with mortar that was full of sand from the beach, so it was round, so it didn't hold together when it got shaken.
Yeah.
And I think it's Maria Luda Riggs, but I'm not positive. We have the lady who said, "Oh, let's build it back Spanish."
Yeah, well, that was Bernard Hoffman's vision.
Yeah,
you know,
and also what's her name? There's a woman, Pearl Chase.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Pearl Chase. Right.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Okay, so this is where we went from the realism and genre painting to impressionism to post-impressionism to Fauvism, and the Society of Six in San Francisco and Oakland, which you're going to see today, Art Nouveau, American Impressionism, California Impressionism, Regionalism, Precisionism, Scene painting, and then back into plein air painting. Right. So, all right, I'm going to show you this. This is after the Art Nouveau and the arts and crafts period, moving into the Art Deco period. You had World War I and the tragedies around that. One of the things that the guys did, the artists did, or craftsmen did, that were stuck in the trenches for all these times, was to take these shell casings or anything that had to do with war and carve into them and create things like this. I bought this at auction a couple years ago, and it says the Argonne. My great uncle fought there in World War I.
Yeah.
And anyways, I wanted you to take a look at this. They call it trench art. Okay, wait, I gotta mute everybody here. Hold on.
If there's anything that I should get.
Let's see. Mute.
Right.
5 years away.
Over here. No material. Well, they are here.
All right. Sorry, I had to mute you guys. Sorry. Anyways, if you need to speak, just press your button. All right. Anyways, beautiful Art Nouveau stylization going on here. Craftsmanship, just really great. They call it trench art. Okay. Now, I got one more PowerPoint to show you how things transitioned. Here, let's see. Do I go and grab it? 19th, 20th century here. All right, stand by. Slideshow. Start. Okay, so we're going to go through this here. This is the realism aspect here. This is a man named Serov. These are Russian artists, okay, Russian Impressionists. They were doing the same thing as the French Impressionists at the same exact time. So I wanted you to see these. This is Levitan on the right. Okay, this is Serov on the left. Okay, Sicily, French Impressionism. Okay, more broken brush strokes. But look at the design. Look at the formatting. Okay, look at how the shapes are laid out within that format. Okay, look at the sweeping, moving lines, etc., and the broken color, and the overall juxtaposition of complementary colors to exact vibration. Okay, pixelating. Okay, Seurat. Okay, he's the one that took it to an extreme, like taking a colored newspaper and moving in and pixelating the colors. So at a distance, they would actually blend to make the overall hue that you're after. That's Seurat. Okay, then taking it to an extreme, Derain and Matisse. These are the Fauvists in France. So even though it looks like they're using color straight out of the tube, when you go to see an original Fauvist painting, all these colors are slightly toned down. They're still not at an extreme with pigments, which is a nice It's a nice thing. So they're actually a little more appealing to look at than you think. Okay, Sterain and Matisse. Okay, wound up being color and design first as opposed to subject matter second. Okay, Klimt and Maynard, more expressive paintings, also dealing with the combinations of pattern within a format. Maynard, beautiful formatting, beautiful design, patterned areas against flatter areas, against rendered areas, flattered areas. Look at the beautiful negative space in here. Look at the focal points, light, dark contrast. Very expressive, okay? All right, in America, you had the same time as the Fauvists and the Impressionists and Post-Impressionists, you had this going on, more traditional representational painting, like by Homer. Okay, Homer was an illustrator, illustrated in the Civil War, then went on to creating more landscapes and working for Harper's, creating magazine illustrations and newspaper illustrations. Nice, big, simplified shapes, big, bold representations here. And scale. Okay, you had the American Impressionists following the French Impressionists here. Here's an example of a traditional representational aesthetic painting, very pleasant day out on the, what do you call it? Out on the bay, okay? You can see the broken brush strokes. You can see the red dash of red here, okay? And in the vicinity, more green and red here. You've got a little bit of orange and orangey gray and blue, violet here, some yellow there, and some purple down here. So they're thinking about juxtaposing the complementary hues in proximity to one another to exact some vibration. This is Childe Hassam, who would also break up his brush strokes, not to the point of Seurat and have things pixelated, but deliberately it was about trying to find just enough pattern work that it makes the painting work. So you'd still have flatter areas and you'd have some dashes of paint. All right, so it was a balance. Okay, Childe Hassam. Then at the same time as the American Impressionists, the Impressionist painters that moved out from the East Coast sometimes took it to an extreme. This man was part of the Society of Six, and his name is escaping me, but it comes up later in this lecture. Okay, but it's about the plein air. Out here in California, you could paint in plein air, 365 days a year. And so what they found about capturing that light outdoors here, you captured the immediacy of the landscape. Okay, this is believe it's a John Gamble. Okay, so it's more idyllic. Sorry?
I said it looks to me, yeah.
Like a John Campbell. Yeah, they called it, he had the reputation. He would do these paintings. He might have one or two poppies here and maybe one bush of lupin, but he had a way of designing things to make them more idyllic, okay? And he would send them back east, and people would see them and say, oh my goodness, we got to go to California. So it was so appealing to the East Coasters that more and more people came out here searching for these types of landscapes. But his reputation was sometimes he put in so many flowers that they were unbelievable. And they called them Gamble's Prairie Fires. Okay, so just after that, around 1915 or so, you had the American Fauves. This is the guy here, Sheldon Connor Gilles. So just like the French fauves, faux painters, these guys formulated their own society. They called them the Society of Six, and they were up in the San Francisco Bay Area. And they were not mixing their colors as much as the traditional representational painters, more of the Southland of California, but they were keeping them unmixed and having more vibrancy to their landscapes, and also keeping the abstractions happening. This is the painter Lundy Segrist. Okay, now to go in the opposite extreme of that, you had Granville Redmond, who would take his tones of paint. He would literally make the tones of paint to keep things in harmony. Like this is a golden overall harmony of tone, okay? Or this is more of a mud, okay? The thing about this mud, what I have found is that sometimes if you're an oil painter, you'll find at the bottom of your jars of paint, you'll have a bunch of sludge. And sometimes the sludge is this tone, or sometimes the sludge is this tone, or sometimes the sludge is this tone. So you can take that sludge, which is nothing more than unmixed or mixed up paint from previous paintings, and you can put it out on a board or a newspaper to soak out some of the thinner. You can add a little bit of more oil paint to it to thin it out a little bit, and then you can paint adding that color or do entire paintings with that sludge. Okay, so tonalism went in the opposite direction as the Society of Six painters, okay? Then you had the illustrators Edgar, Payne, and Maynard, Dixon moving west, traditional representational painters, but they had compositional devices that they used and things that were specific of that time period where you had big dynamic shapes, big simplified areas. Okay, we're going to get into these in just a bit. Then in your regionalism, okay, you had Grant Wood. This is the more realistic paintings. There are still artists that are tending to paint realistically and traditionally. You had Thomas Hart Benton here that introduced this swirling movement in their compositions, okay, more figurative work. And can anybody, I'll give $1 to anybody who can tell me who this painter is here. Any takers? Okay.
So on the tip of my tongue, but I'm joking.
It looks like the Fibonacci thing again.
Yeah, it's Jackson Pollock.
No way.
God.
Yep, Jackson Pollock. He was Thomas Hart Benton's student. Okay, then you had the precisionists or realists, okay, and scene painting that took place in the 1940s and 1950s. So again, you have this balance between the traditional representational painting and then this caricature of things that were going on, okay, making them more interesting. All right, there were other precisionists as well. And then you had this whole style of painting in the early 40s through the 1950s, which were, again, stylizing things, more illustration-like, but making things fun. So you can see like Thomas Hart Benton had an influence as well in these artists there. But they called it scene painting because it captured everyday life. But also look at in more of a tonalistic fashion as well. These are not brilliant, garish, brash colors. They all kind of harmonize and have a mellow tone to them. Okay, last painting here. This is Clarence Hinkle, National Academy winner, one of the Santa Barbara artists in the 1960s who lived up on Mission Ridge. And this is a view from his house in Santa Barbara. He has a beautiful studio up there. And if you don't know, Priscilla Fossick lives in and uses his studio for her art classes. And anyways, it's a hell of a place to visit. Okay, so, all right. So that's just kind of an overview. Let's see, hold on, and show. An overview of what we went through here. And now let's look at Maynard Dixon. What I want to show you today, because we're going to move instead of into the modern art aspect of how life is here. We're going to study a couple of the artists for their design qualities and how they got to where they went. Maynard Dixon was an illustrator who came out west, and I'm going to show you a handful of his paintings here to show you how, while he was painting in plein air, how he would deliberately reconfigure and design things to make them more stylized and modern. So there's an awareness of modernism out in the world and what's going on to make things more aerodynamic or stylized. Okay, take a look at this. This is one of Maynard Dixon's paintings here. It's a squarish format, but it's not totally square. But look at the diagonal lead line here. Look at the directions of the paint, moving the eye into the painting, okay, into this area of contrast here, all right? And then all the diagonals are kind of leading in the direction of the moon rise here, okay? And broken brush strokes help to break up the space in a way. But also pay attention to big dynamic shapes and scale, okay? Speaking of scale, remember I mentioned that if you want to make something look more grand and you have something of human characteristic, you want to make it at least a third to a quarter smaller, just so it increases the importance of what's next to it. Maynard, Dixon. Okay, tying things together. Okay, this is more illustration-y. Okay, it's giving you a storybook rendering of the subject matter. Low horizon line, big sky country, big negative space. Definitely paying attention to the armatures here, to the Baroque and the sinister. Okay, maybe the reciprocals here. If you were to do an armature over this, it would fall into place nicely. And again, look at the scale. Look at these little figures down here. Okay, another Maynard Dixon. Look at the S moving into it here in the negative space, the S path in the composition. Okay, choosing to look at the stylization of the cloud, making it more sexy, more seductive, more stylized and interesting. It's why notism. Look at this beautiful shape here, the negative space that's happening there, and how simplified this area is here, tied together. Okay, now there's books if you want to learn better design. You can get these books here. It's called Composition of Outdoor Painting by Edgar Payne. And it has everything in it, from color schemes to thumbnails to what to do and what not to do. And so now I'm going to go to, this is the example here I'm going to show you. All right, this is what's in the book. Okay, this shows different types of thumbnail sketches. Okay, you got a pyramid or triangle. We already dealt with this in still life. Okay, so the eye's going to move by the subject matter. Okay, the eye's going to move, even with the negative space in here, the eye's going to move around. You're directing the viewer's eyes. Okay, all right, the cross. So you go up and down, side to side. Look at this subject matter of his boats. Okay, another example here. Okay, radiating line. Hold on. Okay, sky. He's using the sky here to get the viewer to move into a certain direction. It's kind of an S here. You got what they call E11 or rectangular. So the eye moves like this. Radiating lines. These are combinations here. Over here on the right-hand side, you've got what he calls steel yard. Very important here. Heavy on one side, but balanced out on the other. Taking it off the page here, taking it off the page, and then having something to the right to balance it out, but the path moves in between. Okay, balanced scales, kind of an even, Steven thing. Circular or zero composition. Look at how he makes the clouds do this. Okay, you got an S or compound curve. River, road. Okay, so you have an awareness now that it's the placement of shapes, either in silhouette. This is a steel yard here. That's a circle, and this is another form of an S, negative space. Okay. If you don't have this book, you can just kind of like take screenshots of this, and this is all you need. Diagonal lines. We won't go through too much more of this here, but it gives you ideas of how to place your shapes. It also has some bigger variations in it here. Like you might have more than one thing in one design that you can do a number of paintings from. Something that's interesting in the foreground is going to keep you, keep you locked into the painting. The emphasis, remember I mentioned hierarchy, okay? This is all about the hills, not the foreground, because of the amount of interest that's here and the light-dark contrast. Or here, the sky's more important than anything else. So you're constantly orchestrating and conducting as you go along. Here's some examples again. Placement of shapes and awareness of compositional devices here. This is the same subject matter, kind of this with three different approaches. All right, this is an example of the colors that you can choose to help you with your compositions. When you have a color scheme that you restrict yourself to, it kind of gives you a guidepost. Sorry, I just got this off the internet. I should have photographed my own book. It gives you an idea of reference of how to stick within that color scheme so the painting holds together. They're all clues. Okay, and he also gives you what to avoid as well, which is pretty nice. You know, when you're working here, like you don't want to half your canvas. So you have redundancy of shape, positive and negative space here, or two sides here, equal masses. Most of it's redundancy and pattern here. Too many parallel lines, lines too near the edge of the picture, aesthetic choices. So anyway, it's a really great book for helping you out. Now, there's an artist named Carlson who also was around the same time period. This is it's called Carlson's Guide to Landscape Painting. Okay, these are, I added my own color. These are actually black and white. The book is old, so they're black and white sketches teaching the artist of perspective and how things, change as they move farther away in atmosphere. This is a side view, how the horizon moves farther and farther away, and what happens to colors, etc., when they move farther away. I usually tell my students if I'm standing here and I look straight up, the colors are warmer here. As they move farther away, they get cooler and lighter. So it's warmer and darker closer to you as they move off into the horizon line, towards the horizon line, to get cooler and lighter. This would be warmer because it's closer to me. And as the mountain recedes away and farther away from me, it gets cooler and lighter. Okay, that's one thing that he teaches there. This is another thing that's from that, which is really cool, is the use of ellipses to find the planes of your subject matter. So things can undulate. It's good for learning dimension. Okay. Last thing here, that's also from Carlson's. I need to flip those. Focal point here, designing clouds, radiating lines. So, you have an idea of how to make your skies or your landscapes recede in coordination. Okay, so they're more interesting. Okay, so there's that. And here's this. What time we got here? We've got, okay, Larry's going to be here in about 5 minutes. I'm just going to go through these really quick. Color schemes here. S-curves here. This is Edgar Payne again. So it shows the application of this whole design concept within the certain formats, high horizon, where he wants the viewer's eye to go. All these lines are working to move you into the painting and become a better, have a better work of art here. Okay, more of a steel yard, dark shape in the foreground, lighter shapes over here. Color schemes as well. It's another example. Cropping at the top. He's thinking more about the abstraction of the shapes here. This is circular composition. What's in light, what's in shadow. Okay, beautiful color harmonies. Also scale. Notice the scale. I don't think the people are that small, but it makes this look more grand because he has made them smaller in scale. Things in silhouette make it easier to go into the background. Warm foreground, cooler background, atmospheric perspective. Just a simplified sketch. Okay, last thing here is color scheme. Working out the colors in advance. Beautiful yellow sky, complementary hues here, blue violets, red violets here, split complements. Also in the foreground, colors. Little problem with a little tangent going on here. It's not bad, but whatever. And then because the dark objects are in the foreground, this is the traditional way of moving the viewer's eye into the background, giving them a place to go, totally leading them into the painting. So that's not a shtick, but it is a tried and true. If you want to move the viewer's eye into the background, you put something darker in the foreground. Okay, golden age of illustration here. Okay, same time period. While the Europeans were going crazy with their artwork and doing more abstractions, okay, you had the illustrators of the day and age really kept things more realistic and idyllic. Okay, this is Howard Pyle, one of the master illustrators of the time, 1880s to the 1940s. Okay, big dynamic shapes. Okay. Big dynamic shapes, nice diagonals. J.C. Leyendecker, lot of figurative work, more telling a story for illustration work, for books, for magazines, etc. Okay, N.C. Wyeth was a student of Howard Pyle. Beautiful color schemes. Look at the red and green. See, they're paying attention to the quantity of complementary color, overall color scheme of a certain harmony, with the complement just being a little smidgen of the overall tone, which is kind of a green tone. Okay, tying together shapes, big dynamic shapes here. Okay, and then Norman Rockwell, of course, we know him. More whimsical approach to the subject matter in this case here. Still a hell of a designer compositionally. Also, it's telling a story. I mean, you can make up scenes. Look at the way these guys are looking off to the side. It's hilarious. Okay. All right, this is the last thing before Larry comes on. By the way, Larry, are you here? Larry, let's see if Larry's here. Okay. Stand by. This is an interesting thing that I found here for illustration. This is kind of old. I don't know if it's old, but I mean it's useful. But you can see if you wanted to tell stories, look at these designs that they have here. Eye-catching subjects. Okay, you can place your name here in an advertisement with a boat.
Where does this come from?
I don't know, but you see the radiating curves. Remember the Loomis? Remember Loomis? Andrew Loomis, the illustrator that we covered about 2 sessions ago.
Yes. Is this his?
No, I don't think this came from his, but it was out there. But it's the same. It's pretty much the same time period.
Payne.
Sorry?
It almost looks like Payne. I mean, that same organization and
yeah.
The printing type.
Could be. Could be. It very well could be. You've got some beautiful these are just possibilities, okay, for advertising and for illustrating back probably early 20th century. And it's taking Andrew Loomis's philosophy, or maybe Andrew Loomis just took his philosophy from these early forms of advertising illustrations here and concepts. Anything showing speed, falling, diving, or flight. So that you could reference something like that. If you were doing an illustration for a book or something, you know, you could look this up, and that gives you a place to launch from. These are hilarious. Speaking of hilarious, Larry, are you here? I have you muted if you are here. You've got to press your space key.
Can you hear me now?
Hi, Larry. Yes, Larry, good timing. Boy, you are spot on, man. Okay, what I'd like to do is everybody go up to your window and unmute yourselves. Can you do that?
Where is that? Unmute.
You go up to your window. Okay, see, I'm going to cancel mute all. Never mind, you should all be unmuted now. Everyone's unmuted. We're all happy. I'd like to welcome Larry Vigon to the class. Yeah, good timing.
Hi.
Hi, Larry.
Hi, Larry.
Can you hear me?
Larry.
Okay, so yeah, where are you, Larry? There he is. Okay, I'm gonna.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we got you, Larry.
Okay.
So now, what I'm gonna do.
Oh, he's nice looking.
He's a nice looking man, isn't he? Yes. Hello there, Larry. Oh, good. Oh, good. All right, well, welcome. So I'd like to just say a little bit. I should have read your bio, Larry, before you came on. For those of you who went on to Larry's website, I don't know if you have an about section of that.
I do.
There. You do.
I have
okay.
a whole thing there.
Okay, well, I'll just say that I know that you've been doing art and illustrative and graphic design for 40 years, yes?
Well, 50 years now.
Oh my God, it was 40 yesterday. It's 50 now? Okay, tomorrow will be 60.
I know.
No, you're aging too quickly. Don't do that. Okay, yeah, for 50 years. And as you can see in his website, and you'll see, because I do have a PowerPoint that has a variety of some of the things that he's done that I'll show you, that he is coming into his prime right now. This is the prime. It's all happening. In fact, the latest accomplishment, and I'd like to acknowledge him for that, is being inducted into the American Album Covers Hall of Fame. Is that right?
Well, it's the Album Cover Hall of Fame, not just America. It's,
international?
Well, the projects are international. So
projects are international. Okay. So the Album Cover Hall of Fame. Okay. So that's a biggie. Very happy about that.
Thank you.
And so what else do I want to say before I get started with this? What I thought I would do, I would show you some images of Larry's and some doodle art and things, so you get a better idea for those of you who haven't seen what he's done. And I'm going to come up here. I'm now showing, I'm going to share from this screen. Larry, I'm going to shrink you down, nothing personally.
Okay.
Okay. And can you all see my screen now? Yes? Everybody
Yes,
here?
sir.
Okay.
Yes.
And I want to move this box out of the way so I can share from the slideshow from this current slide. Okay. Okay, so I put this together, Larry, to show how adept of an illustrator you are by this image right to the left. Okay. This is where it all starts, okay? This is the beginning. This is like when you first enter into the life on the planet, right? We start scribbling.
Right.
And, so here you go. I wanted you to see this. I saw this and I said, this needs to happen. This has a potential for film, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. And Larry likes to, at the beginning, he likes to do these doodle sketches here. And so I'm going to just show you a handful that I took these pictures the other day when I was visiting him. And Are these mostly unconscious?
Yeah, I usually do these while I'm watching the news or, you know, on a phone call, and then I look at them later and I go, oh, that might be worth developing. So,
yeah.
And as you know, I also, that's how I start most of my, you know, projects also, you know, like logos and.
Yes. Which you will see here.
Mm-hmm.
So here we have on the left another one of his pages. Pay no attention to the phone numbers and things, but this is what happens. This is what he comes away with. How long was the conversation that you had here with Roland Young? No, but you can see if you look really close on these, how any one of these little designs can become something else eventually. So I'm using my cursor right now. In fact, I'm going to turn it into a spotlight here. Okay. All right. Some get developed and some don't. And it's interesting to see some just have a little bit of scribble, okay, a little bit of scribble. And then some you really take further into the realm of dark and light, contrast, ribbon-like, you know, tones. Tell me about this one.
I don't know what to say about that.
Good, I caught you.
I just, you know, I just keep doodling. I find I need to keep my hands moving all the time. In fact, it's taking all my willpower right now to not pick up a pen and start doodling while we're talking. So.
Well, you can doodle on your own paper. Yeah, but, doodle on your own time, Larry. On your own time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, take a look at this one. Now, this I cropped in on one here, and you can all see this. This looks kind of like it could be. This is automatic drawing almost. It looks like a Miro about to happen, or a Calder. A Calder.
What?
Multitask. Look at the beautiful repetition of faces here. And this is an intriguing figure too. This looks like something that Salvador Dali would do. Mind you, they're no more than maybe 2 inches in size, or even an inch in size.
Smaller, yeah.
Smaller, yeah. Okay, here's an example of his desktop. Right? Look at the beautiful designs down here below. Here and here. The rabbit plays a big theme.
My wife likes rabbits.
Yes. Okay, we're going to keep moving. All right, couple more. Couple more here. This is intriguing here. You even went into some shading back here. So you all saw when I was critiquing today how I would add a halftone next to something or try to gradate something. That's all this is doing here. It's just giving you a little more possibility. Okay. Okay, so speaking of logos, okay, I think I have this on here. This is the beginning for a, was it a letterhead or a website or both?
It's a website, masthead. Yeah.
Masthead, thank you. That's.
Well, I did the whole website, but it usually starts with a logo.
Okay, usually starts with a logo, okay. All right, let's see what I put in here next. In fact, is that it? Let's see.
Yep. Wow.
That's it.
That's how it came out. So I'm going to go back. Okay, so you did all these variations.
Mm-hmm.
All these variations, and then you settled on something even more simple than that. It was all about the L. All right, because Larry, the assignment they had last week was to create, you know, some form of a logo for themselves or do their letters on their initials of their name. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so now I'm going to show them this. This is a. You want to tell the story?
This is a logo for a longtime client and friend, Mick Fleetwood from Fleetwood Mac. And he's starting a new project called Dadaism, and he called me up a few weeks ago and asked me to do this logo for him. I've done all his, maybe some of you have seen the website, my website, but I did 6 album covers for Fleetwood Mac. And I've done numerous solo projects for Mick. And this is the latest one. So it's called Dadaism. And whenever I get an assignment like this, I go start doodling, just rough. And knowing the Dada movement and what it looked like, I knew that it was lots of different typefaces put together, and but with a sensibility. I've seen people do it who don't know anything about the Dada movement, and it doesn't work. But you'll see where this goes.
Yes.
I think you have the finish there, don't you?
Yeah. So yeah, I do. This is all moving in that direction. We're all moving towards the finish. Anyway, so it's interesting to see all these ideas, all these variations.
Yeah, it's really just, it's thinking, you know, kind of putting your thoughts down. And it's, you know, this is where there's no masterpiece here. This is all just getting ideas down and think, oh, this works, that doesn't. And, you know, just putting as much stuff down on the page, just getting it out.
Yeah.
And seeing what.
In the course of how much time did all these drawings come forth? Is this an afternoon? 2 weeks?
Probably over 2 or 3 days, probably. Just whenever I'm sitting down, and because I'm thinking about it all the time. So it could be on a number of different pieces of paper on different pads, and then I get them all together, and then I sit down with my assistant, because I'm useless on the computer, and then we build several versions of finished logos, which I don't know. Thomas, did you? Yeah, you've got all of them there.
I got them all.
So these are the ones I took to finish.
For those of you who don't know what Dadaism, Dada was a movement in the 19-teens and the 1920s. We might as well call it why notism. And using surrealism and simplification and throwing everything up against the wall and hoping something will stick. And they called it Dada.
Yeah, the typography at the time was really interesting, I thought.
Yeah, do you have any of that here?
Really breaking all the rules, mixing all these different typefaces, serif, sans serif, bold, thin, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you had the Bauhaus going on at the same time, and they were really into the sans serif.
Larry, when you're doing your sketches, do you have a writing implement of choice?
No, I always have a pen and a pencil next to me. And that's just a regular pen and a regular pencil. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, he's just like us. He bleeds just like us.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm amazed. I'm just floored.
Check this out. This is one way of getting to know if the artwork is going to work. Different ways of presenting the different designs, scale-wise on a product, because that's what he wants to do, right? He wants to be able to sell the logo.
This is going to be part of a new album package, but also it's going to be videos and clothing and all types of things. It's not just one thing.
Okay.
But I also find whenever I do a logo, I like to show it in use. It seems people can relate to it more when they actually see it, you know, on a t-shirt.
Looks good.
I assume that Fleetwood is also joking with da-da or da-da-da-da-da-da-da that people do with music. I mean, it's a pun there.
Was this the one that they finally, yeah, you know, I was thinking the same thing. Go ahead, sorry.
No, the first one is the one they chose.
Oh, the very first one? Can I go back to that, please? Yes, you may. Thank you very much.
That's number one.
That's the one they chose.
Yeah.
That's in your face. Look at that. Yeah. So did you wind up over those 2 or 3 days walk around going da 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 da?
No, I didn't.
You didn't.
In the several conversations I had with Mick, he never mentioned that either.
Yeah, so, like even the police, you know, do da da da. Okay.
You know, that's always, but it's something I like about, you know, art. It's that people see things in there sometimes that I hadn't thought of. So,
God,
you know, adds layers to it.
Yes, it does. Yeah, and we can improve upon everything we do. All right, so now I threw together a few of these things, logos and album covers.
Oh, that? Yeah, that was it. Fleetwood Mac on every album I did, because the bass player, John McVie, likes penguins. He has a tattoo of a penguin on his forearm. And there's always a penguin for each concert tour for merchandising. And this one was for the Mirage album. So it's a French penguin.
That's funny. Yeah. Just because of the beret, it makes it a French penguin. Is he French?
Yeah. When you see the final color version, yeah, it's a little more colorful. But
okay, I don't think I put that in.
That's just the original ink
right.
brushstroke.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to see. You know, all right, so I want you to all pay attention to the use of negative space. Okay, the simplification, the integration of the negative space into the subject. Okay, that's more artsy. You're leaving more up to the imagination when you do that. Okay, tell us about this.
Well, that was inspired because Mick is 6'6", so that's where the height of the characters, the taller, thinner characters, and the way Stevie is posed with her arm sweeping out and the way her dress is. That's why I added the different sweeping motions to the logo. So yeah, the type was all inspired by the logo itself to work with the logo.
Right. Had you seen this photograph first before you designed this?
Yeah, that's how I came up with the look.
Yeah, the arabesque, the whole sweeping motions and things. All right. Anybody have any questions around this?
So what you see to the left, that's the original pencil drawing. And then after that, I would do a final ink drawing of it.
I had a question. Did you listen to the music as you were working? Were you familiar with them as artists?
Whenever I take a job, I meet with the artist, and we talk about what the vibe is this year for, you know, what do you want to tell your public, and then I'll listen to a demo tape or just a couple of songs maybe that might be finished, and we'll sit in the recording studio and just, you know, get a feel for it. Yeah.
Do you shoot your own photography, or do you usually collaborate with a photographer with these?
I always collaborate with a photographer, and it's been one of my great pleasures of the 50+ years I've been doing this, is to work with some of the best photographers in the world.
And do they collaborate with costume designers then too? Is that how that works?
Yeah, we get hair, makeup, wardrobe, you know, and you know, these photo shoots are quite a production.
Yeah, imagine.
All right. Yeah, go ahead, Larry.
No, I was just going to say, you know, working with really talented people is one of my great joys of being in this business, and collaborating with people like Helmut Newton and George Sorel and Peter Beard Joyce Tennyson, all these great photographers. Yeah,
it's really fun. I mean, because this is my era to remember being really struck by this image when I was younger, and to meet the artist who was sort of the collaborative rascal who put it together.
Okay, cool. Yeah, all right, okay. I just have to say something here. All right, I've got to jump in. All right, this is her back arm, yes?
Yeah, it's. I've got a row of pictures in front of that, but yeah.
Okay. Oh, you do? Okay. Go up to the top of that row of pictures.
Yeah.
And hit the one single line on the left, and that'll shrink those pictures down.
Oh, it got rid of them.
Good. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Now look. So this back arm, that's her arm, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is her other arm, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's going on here? Is he holding on to her hand? Or is that all one hand?
That's a crystal ball.
Okay. Okay. I couldn't tell. It looked like he was. Okay. That makes sense.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Well, I want to just make a comment. In the pencil drawing, the two O's of Fleetwood and the O of Rumor are sort of competing with each other. I love the way it got moved, Rumors got moved over just a tiny bit to in the final one. It was such a subtle thing, but
it did
much more effective, I think.
It had to fit to the photograph. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. I decided you probably did it because of the photograph, but
yeah,
I like it better.
When I was doing the final layout, it just felt like Rumors needed to move to the right. So.
Good one. Offset.
And I did a number of different versions of the word rumors, but that's the one I settled on.
Right.
And the final draft, that of course is all the lettering was all handcrafted.
All handcrafted, and for many, many years I got emails and phone calls from designers around the world wanting to know what typeface I used.
Yeah.
It's pre-computer, all hand lettered. There is no rest of the alphabet. It's only those letters that I ever designed.
There's a lot of ligatures in there too, I think. I think that's what it's called.
Yes.
One letter ties into another one.
Yes, and I've seen people try to add letters to it, and it never works.
Did you use a French curve?
I used French curves and ellipse templates and circle templates and straight edge. All those tools.
Cool.
And I used to use a rapidograph, a very fine pen on vellum. And that was the way I would do the final one.
Okay. Awesome. All right. I'm going to just show a couple more of these. This is just on vellum now, right?
No, because that's an airbrush illustration.
Okay.
That was a tour logo for the Doobie Brothers.
Okay.
And that Eric Clapton was, the brief on that was that Eric was actually in a quite a good mood, a good creative mood for this package. So it should be something that was kind of fun, more uplifting. And that's the one they went with. The actual real painting it's a little more vibrant than what you're seeing here.
Do you have the original painting?
I sold it.
You did? Oh,
yeah.
Too bad. I'd like to see I just got this off the internet, so I'd like to see a more vibrant variation on it.
Right.
That would really be cool. I chose this to show just because I love Tom Petty, and so.
Yeah, this one. When I first met with these guys, just the idea of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, I immediately saw a tattoo in my mind. And, a classic tattoo, the heart with the arrow through it, but using the arrow-shaped guitar to, give it a musical, aspect. So And they used it, it must be for 40 years.
Wow.
It's still, last tour that he did, they were still using it on the stage.
Yeah.
And just like Fleetwood Mac, when I saw them in Las Vegas last year, they're still using the Rumors logo, lettering huge across the top of the stage. Yeah.
Wonderful.
And they're having a big resurgence right now. If you guys didn't know, big resurgence of their music right now.
Larry, can I ask how it makes you feel when you see that?
I still get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
That's me. Okay, moving on. I just put in a couple more.
Mm-hmm.
It's, yeah.
Carole King, we flew to New York to shoot with one of my favorite photographers, Joyce Tennyson. We would shoot on the 20 by 24 Polaroid. So it's a huge camera.
Lord.
And you get a 20 by 24 Polaroid that just pulls out the back of the camera, and you stick up a wall. It's an instant poster.
Wow.
And it's a great way to work. It's so much fun. We did lots of projects to get our fashion brochures and other people. Thomas Dolby. Yeah, it was great. Chicago, that logo existed, that had been around for quite a while, because this is their 17th album, but sorry, I need a drink here. But every album they had a new treatment of the logo. So 17, that's their biggest selling album ever. And I had a woodworker make that logo out of a piece of wood about 1 inch thick, and then I put a piece of linen over it and squeezed it into all the nooks and crannies of the logo, and then I airbrushed it from an extreme angle across the side, and that picked up all the edges to make it look like it's
the crinkles.
Package wrapped logo. Then I came back in with a little white chalk here and there and for highlights and things, but
nice.
But it was a fun project. They loved it.
And this is wrap. It's just like wrapping you superimposed over it.
And I took the painting and I actually wrapped it with real twine, like a package.
Yeah.
And when it was photographed. Yeah.
But is this not a musical symbol?
Sure looks like it.
Where?
This right here.
Bass clef.
Yeah,
a bass clef. Yes, thank you. I thought I recognized that. Okay, now let's take a look at Larry's fine art. Okay. All right.
This is a work in progress, Thomas.
I know, Larry. I know. I know. We're all works in progress.
Yes.
Well, Larry and I, we co-taught a workshop recently, a 6-week workshop in journaling. And because Larry's been journaling for, I don't know how many years, but he has volumes of paintings within a journal. And one of the techniques that we taught was this type of painting, where to begin in a journal with a handprint or doing something with your hand. And so all these are from different pages of his journals that he's done in the past. All right, Larry. Sorry I showed this one. Anyway.
No, that's okay.
Okay, good. And then we move forward. We do, Larry demonstrated in the workshop on the right here. This is a kind of like Rorschach painting where you fold the page in half. You put paint on one side, you fold the page in half, and then open it up. And whatever the patterns are that are left, you make something out of. And this is an example of what one of his paintings came out to.
Well, you don't have the before?
No, I don't, Larry. No,
Okay.
this is not the journaling class, so I'm not going to teach them how to do this because this is more, you know, that's more of a painting thing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see, I wish I could zoom in on it. You can just see all the different techniques and things that he uses to create these beautiful texturizations. How about the one on the left there, Larry? You want to explain that one?
Well, it was just something I was doing. I wasn't, a lot of things I do, I'm not, when it comes to fine art, I'm not really planning on what's going to happen. I'm just putting the paint down and seeing what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just put the paint down and started moving it around. This kind of came up, some hard edges came up. I started to make the nose out of that. I had a terrible time with the mouth. I did probably 5 different mouths on this and I couldn't get one I liked. And then I got fed up and I just stuck my finger in some red paint and wiped it across there. And it was like, oh, that's it. And I just added some highlights and you never know. Sometimes I think when, you know, I was working on this mouth so hard and I think my ego was getting in the way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this has to be a really good painting. And then when I finally got fed up and just smeared the paint across, is when I just kind of let it go. And that's when the magic for me, for this painting happened. And I
What's
think,
the medium on these?
it's acrylic paint.
Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing. And because Larry's graphic design background, he knows how to use templates and maskings to make things sharp edged and give depth and dimension to things. And, you know, he could do it all. The guy could do it all. You should see him, you know, Jesus. And you know, it's just such a beautiful, beautiful process to watch things develop that are painterly and you know, have sculptural qualities to them and mystery and mood and feeling. And
the one on the left was done mostly with a paint roller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see the texture here.
Love it.
And then you just scraped the texture on this one.
Yeah. And then I go in with some drafting tape and mask off the edge of the nose, and you can, with a fairly dry brush, you can go in and start to create that highlight, and then you take that tape off and mask off the other side and put the shadow in. So you get a nice hard edge.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, these are images from your journals, yes?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Again, same thing, Rorschach. You can see the folding of the paper here. Oh, hold on, Freud's coming through. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. So the page is folded in half, folded back, and then he's got all these textures of all the colors that he used. And then a lot of this is all, the texturing of the beard, for instance, is just working into it with what, a pencil?
Yeah, just a regular lead pencil, just working into the red paint and creating the mustache and beard and eyebrows.
How about this one on the left?
Yeah, that was also a folding one.
Yeah.
Yeah, same technique. Just, you know, seeing what's there and then starting to work back into it with shadows and highlights.
Okay. I had to show this one, Larry.
Okay.
Just because, you know, this is a collage. Because he put these diamantes, these little, are they blue?
Yeah, they're little, you know, glass diamantes.
Yeah. So again, it's doing the Rorschach technique. When it's dry, then going back over it with black, dragging black into it. Yes? Am I right?
Yeah, well, working, once again, shadows and highlights.
Yeah, shadows and highlights, okay. And then the highlights, you going back in with a gold?
With a dry brush.
the dry brush and just dragging it over the texturing of the.
Yeah, very, very lightly.
Yeah.
With very little paint and just skimming the surface. So anything that's raised up will pick up a little gold.
Yeah.
What kind of paper do you use?
Actually, unfortunately, most of it's pretty crappy.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
you know, those journals that you buy are not great. But and then when I'm doing other paintings out of the book, I use better paper.
Ah, yeah.
Are you doing the journaling workshop again?
Yeah. Thomas, aren't we thinking about maybe in March trying to get another one going?
Yes. Yes.
Cool.
If we don't destroy their premises in the meantime.
Yeah.
Yes. There's big plans on the horizon. Big plans.
Cool.
So, Larry, tell us about these, would you?
Yeah. I was living in Italy at the time. Just got back from a trip to London, and I was looking at Klimt, and I was looking at Burne-Jones, the pre-Raphaelite artist. Not thinking about anything in particular, just enjoying their work. And then just in my mind, I saw these figures. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I got back to Italy, I just started painting. And so I've painted the torsos, mm-hmm. and then I added these fish, our gold leaf. That was a lot of work on those.
Yeah, a lot of love went into those.
Right.
All right, this is something Larry does a lot of here.
Lino cuts.
Yes.
I really enjoy doing lino cuts, and then you can do. There's a whole series of these, or 5 or 6 of them, and I'm just finishing up another series right now of one that I call lounge. Oh, there it is, lounge lizards.
Has anybody here done lino cuts?
What is a lino cut?
Yes.
Yeah. Larry,
it's a piece of linoleum.
Oh.
And the special carving tools. It's kind of like a little shovel or a V shape. Some of them are V shaped, some are rounded, and then you just cut into the linoleum, and then you can cover it with ink or paint or whatever you want, and then you can make multiple prints from it, and then I work back into them with acrylics and pencils.
Ah, nice.
Lounge lizards. This is
So that's the original doodle, and then you see the final result on the other side.
You know, you ever see the movie Barfly?
I've heard of it. I don't think I saw it though.
Yeah, it was about Bukowski. You know, it had that same. You said lounge lizards, so you know there are people that hang out at in lounges and bars and things, right?
Yeah, they're usually fairly seedy characters. Yeah.
So you notice this, all right? So this technique is mostly a graphic art technique to begin with. So you got areas that are patterned, areas that are flat. This beautiful technique here. Did you drag one of those cardboard cutout?
Yeah, I cut a piece of cardboard with a pair of pinking shears and just ran it across the wet paint. I masked it off. I masked off that area.
Yeah.
And then applied the paint with a roller, and then when it was wet, I dragged the cardboard across.
Okay, and then the outline itself, was this done on black paper?
Yes.
Okay, so that's why you get the consistency of the black line.
On black paper.
Yeah. So again, look at the integration of the negative space here, and how it works out in the painting itself. Technically, no fingertips. So that's pretty cool. And then the last thing is the eyes. Look at the highlight on the eyeballs. That brings dimension to that flat surface.
Yeah, that's what
the shading on the eyelid.
Yeah.
Wait, say that again. What?
I said it brings the eye to life.
Yes, it brings it to life.
Yeah.
Gives it the human characteristic. Okay. Look at the variety on this. This is flat art, folks. This is not sculpture.
What I do when I do a painting that I don't like, instead of throwing it away, I put it in a box. And then later on, these are all collage. So I've taken old paintings and cut them apart, stuck them back together, and then worked back into them with acrylic paint. And then the hair is done with ink. I just put a bead of ink across the top and then blow on it. And it's kind of a controlled chaos. You kind of know what's going to happen, but you never really know what's going to happen. So, but yeah, I did about 15 of these. They're really fun.
I had to show these.
Yeah, this is from a series called Hypocrites. And the one on the right is all collaged together from old paintings. And the other one is just straightforward acrylic painting.
When did you do these?
I did these when I was living in London. So these are probably about 10 years old, these.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so interesting. The one on the left I thought was so relevant for our current times.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Does anyone else see that?
Very relevant.
I saw that, yeah.
Okay.
Some things don't change. And, you know, the thing here.
Referring to the orange on the face?
Yeah.
Yeah, the paint here?
Yeah.
I'm referring to the person I think it looks like right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of art. You see things where, you know, most people don't. It will read and, you know, it'll affect some people differently.
Well, I'm seeing a rainbow where you're circling right now.
Yeah.
It's
Tell
just
me about
also
that, Larry.
It's also really great shadow work, you know, the Jungian shadow stuff. I think that when artists have the courage to kind of go there and speak their own respective truth, then we can witness it in a safe and a palatable way, and then eventually, hopefully, shift away from those choices.
Well, I know the whole thing with that one is, you know, a lot of politicians, almost every politician wears a American flag on their lapel, but it doesn't really mean they're patriots. It's actions speak louder than lapel pins, I think. So.
That's a good quote. Tell me about this, Larry. Kurt noticed the rainbow effect here. Tell me about how you came up with that idea and what was the motivation. And
it was an accident, and I liked it, so I kept it.
So how was it an accident?
I don't. Yeah. I don't remember when we did this. I do remember I hadn't planned it. Okay. But sometimes, as you know, if you keep an open mind, accidents happen that are sometimes better than what you planned.
That's the way of the subconscious and the unconscious. When you let go and synchronicity, the integrity of the work, what wants to be said, comes through.
Absolutely.
They're not really, they seem like accidents, but some part of the process is very intentional about it.
I agree completely. That's exactly right.
This is something that Larry does too here.
If I don't have my complete set of paints with me, but since I always feel like doing something, I'll go to a local art store and get a few acrylic paints, and I like picking up these rocks these are from a river where I used to live in Italy. And so I used to paint these with metallic paints, and yeah, it was just fun. I've sold a whole bunch of these. I didn't ever intend, I just did them for my own amusement, but people liked them, so yeah.
Yeah, if you Google images, you know, Larry Vigon images, you'd be amazed. That's where I found these, was just through Google images. And so I'm kind of giving you a wider variety of Larry and what he does design-wise. When he has
Larry, can I?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask Larry with those last. Were you ever interested in Egyptian art, or drawn to some of what you would see in Egyptian art, or?
I think it's beautiful. You know, looking at hieroglyphics and things like that. The one on the left almost feels a bit Celtic, I think, with the way that swirls around to the top. Once again, I'm just working with the stone. I like to, you know, something in harmony with the shape of the stone. And I like to keep a lot of the stone, the natural stone showing. I'm not interested in covering the whole thing with paint. And then I don't want to just decorate it with flowers or something like that. I thought, you know, you could actually see a snake crawling across a stone.
Does the stone surface need to be prepared before you begin painting?
Well, I draw the design in pencil first, and then I paint the whole thing in black. And then I work back in, because the stone can be porous. So you need to seal that area that you're going to be painting on.
What do you seal it with?
Just black acrylic paint.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's good. Okay, I think we got just one more page here.
Yeah, the can is a crush can. That was something that I did in London. I was walking down the street and I saw this can in the street that looked like it had been run over about 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And I just love the texture and the patina, the color of it all. So I picked it up and brought it home and made this kind of a deep sea creature out of it. Added some Google eyes, and yeah, I love the way it came out. That was fun.
And
the other one is ink drops. Dropping ink on a page just from the dropper, and then with a pencil, kind of moving the wet ink around to make those arms and legs and tail. And once again, the Google eyes.
Yeah. So you could be a pretty damn serious artist, but this is one way of showing us that you can also be lighthearted and whimsical.
Right.
And approachable. So this is good.
Serious play, remember?
Serious play, that's right.
Yeah, this was right here in Santa Barbara, just sitting on some steps, staring out at the ocean, and I looked down in the sand and saw these two pieces of driftwood, and I put them together to do this cow skull or bull's skull. I've actually had the two pieces put together and have that hanging up in the living room now.
Found objects.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we do as part of the journaling workshop as an assignment, is finding objects and then making something out of them. And for those of you who, this is also Dadaism as well. If you study Picasso and some of the Dadaists like Marcel Duchamp, and Picasso shows up in with a bicycle seat and bicycle handlebars configured in a way that it looks like a bull's head.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It is. So this is, you know, this is basically, you know, I don't know. Do you think you would have made this decision had you not been aware of what Picasso had done, you know, 70, 80 years ago, 90 years ago? Or if the Dadaists had come into play?
That information, you know, I'd always liked that. I'd seen it, you know, a zillion years ago.
Yeah.
And it's obviously stuck in my mind. It's, you know, in the catalog back there. And
yeah.
Right.
So
yeah, we're going through his catalog right now. I think that's it. Oh, okay. In show. All right. So, does anybody have any questions for Larry? Thoughts, words, things.
No questions. I'm just, this was a real treat. So.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Lovely
Yes,
presentation.
wonderful. I hope to budget for your class in the fall and hope to have a vaccine by then for us.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we pulled it off
Great.
this
Thank you
time.
so much.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you're working on a piece, is there like, do you have like a zone that you get into in terms of like, do you like to listen to music? Do you like things to be really quiet? Like, is there like, what's your work environment like?
I love listening to music while I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I do get into a zone where it becomes more of a meditation. And I find I do my best work when I'm on automatic pilot, as opposed to overthinking something. It's different when, doing graphic design, you have to really think, and, you've got a client with needs and budgets and deadlines. But when I'm doing my personal art, it's a real meditation. And I just kind of, it's well-educated instinct, but it's still going on instinct. And I find that's my best work.
I had a question about of how the field of design has evolved. As I started to take some graphic design classes last fall, and there's this awareness that now there's this generation where people aren't so connected to sort of like a tangible, organic reality where you work with organic materials, but it's all done on a computer. And for me, I'm sure a human has done it, but there's a certain magic to me when you connect to the natural world. And I wondered what your thoughts were with regard to design and designers that are creating that's been all digital. Do you think that's a new frontier, or do you think there's value in sort of like learning the basics of draftsmanship and life drawing and painting to inform the designer's practice?
I think for me, getting my art education before computers was invaluable. Mm-hmm. And I think because computer design programs are so ubiquitous now that everyone has the same tools to work with, whereas creating a unique style for yourself, I through my entire career tried to incorporate my personal work into my graphic design work. Paintings or illustrations for album cover, but a certain sensibility. I don't know how people create on a computer from scratch. Are we getting back to the doodles? If I don't have a pen or a pencil in my hand, I would be lost. I couldn't do it by clicking on keys.
Yeah.
So was your creative practice then, when you were doing your art, was that sort of like a cross-training in a way? The creative research that you did independently of your design work fueled the design work, and then I imagine the design work fueled, fed back into the fine art practice. Is that correct? Is it accurate?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I try to go back and forth. Some of my fine art has graphic quality, some of my graphic stuff has fine art. It goes back and forth. And it's, I was doing a guest 3 months as a guest creative director at an agency in London when I was there, because their creative director had gone on extended leave, and an assignment came in the first day or two I was there, and I had a whole pool of designers I was in charge of, and they all immediately went on the computer to find a solution, and I was horrified.
Yeah.
I said, "What are you guys doing? This has to come from inside,
Yeah.
Why don't you be the person that's creating something that other people are researching?" But I said, the whole fun of this thing that we're doing, graphic design, is being original.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, you know, also, as I mentioned before, working with the great photographers, everyone's looking for stock photography now on the computer instead of creating original photography, which, you know, to me is an absolute joy. So I am a bit dismayed by what I see nowadays, but there's still a lot of good stuff being done.
You have a marvelous inner child. There's a playfulness to so much of your work.
Yeah.
Loved it.
So it's so important to try and keep that. I think it was very astute of Picasso. I'll try and paraphrase it as best I can, but he said, "It took me 4 years to paint like Raphael and the rest of my life to learn how to paint like a child." So, you know, it's that childlike look on the world, you know, not that I do adult things too, but
seriously.
Also, kids are connected to magic, you know.
Connected
to magic.
Magic.
And also their connection to spirituality, you know, they don't have any filters. They're open to the many dimensions of where creativity comes from before it's conditioned, and those doors are conditioned to be shut before they get lost in the land of no.
Yeah. I agree completely.
Wow.
I was watching an interview with David Lynch the other day, the great director. And the interviewer said, "Can you explain the creative process?" And he just said, "No." He said, "1 minute you don't have the answer, and then the next minute it's there."
Yeah.
But I don't know how and I don't know how it happens either. People have asked me about it, you know, 1,000 times. I don't know where it comes from. It just, I think, like you were saying before, just being open and you know, letting that creative energy flow through, and yeah.
I think curiosity and courage.
Yeah, and then just doing it. Nothing happens unless you're doing something. So that's why I'm always doodling and painting and drawing, you know, and then something happens.
Yeah.
It's like a practice, a spiritual practice in a way, a creative practice.
Yeah, it's my spiritual practice.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're producing.
Oh, so rich. Thank you, Thomas.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Good idea.
Inspiring. I'm totally inspired.
Very inspiring.
And he's totally influencing me. I mean, I'm thinking outside the box and more than I ever have. And I do want to share that Larry has been given an opportunity to have a book made of his artwork and his career, basically. His commercial artwork and his fine artwork. And so I'm going to be helping him on that project in the next 6 months or so.
Very cool, Tom.
Yeah. So stay tuned, everybody, because there's more to come.
Are you putting the book together, Thomas, yourself, or
no? I'm just gonna help curate. I'm Larry's.
That's a huge
Larry's the
task.
designer.
Yeah, I'll design the book.
Yeah.
What program do you use for putting the book design together, Larry?
Oh yeah.
Use Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, or
InDesign.
InDesign.
Yeah, but I don't do computer work. I have an assistant that does computer work.
Yeah.
I know what a computer can do, and what I do is I sit next to the computer person and I direct.
Wonderful. Oh,
one of the things, you know, I'm an art director too, so I'll say do this, do that, and move this here and make that lighter or darker. But then, and once again, just like painting, along the way something might happen that I hadn't planned on.
Right.
So, oh wait, don't get rid of that.
Yeah.
That looks really interesting. So
yeah.
That's why I always have to be there to catch the accidents.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Larry?
I was a career board draftsman, and I got dragged kicking and screaming into CAD CAM, you know, And there's such a difference between having a pencil in your hand, and filtering that into a QWERTY keyboard. It's just.
You remember that movie, the movie The Vikings, where they had to die with a sword in their hand?
Yes.
I have to die with a pencil in my hand.
That's why he always has one attached everywhere. Does someone else have a question?
Yeah, this is Sandy. Larry, many of your images, or many that we saw, have faces, bodies in them. Is that most of your subjects?
I do a lot of faces. I don't question it. I've done landscapes. I've done, a lot of figures, but I keep going back to faces. I'm just intrigued by, and they're not they're not realistic.
But they're very expressionist.
Yeah.
You're making rock people. You're drawing the rock people. The land has language, or at least in the native Indian things. I mean, the work is very archetypal. And for me, at least, you're saying that different things come from different people, but it's like the voice of the spirits of the land that come through in a way. Your work really strong, ancestral work.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it comes from, honestly. I'm a big fan of Francis Bacon, if you're familiar with his work.
Yeah. That came through.
Yeah.
I love his
Hieronymus Bosch and a couple of
on the Hypocrite series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with a humorous slant. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, great humor. It helps cut it.
Yeah.
That's what allows it to enter the subconscious, because we're able to see ourselves in it, but with the humor, it makes it digestible. It's like sugar coating the pill.
There you go.
Sugar coating the medicine with humor.
Quite a few that aren't so humorous also. So it's a mixture. Yeah. You'll see when the book comes out, you'll see there's quite a wide range of these kind of characters.
Yeah. Yeah, he's multi-personality, this guy. Yeah. All right, y'all. If anybody else has a question, now's the time. Okay. Well, Larry, thank you very much. I'll call you after class because I've got a couple questions for you.
Yeah, a pleasure.
Great to meet you, Larry.
Thanks for the inspiration, buddy.
Really appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you. See you in the fall.
All right.
Yeah. Ciao.
Ciao. Okay, or you can stick around. It's all good. I'm going to be about 45 more minutes here on this class. So.
No, I'll let you get on with it.
All right, brother. Okay. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so why don't we take a 5-minute break? Okay.
Yeah, my bladder says thank you.
Yes, me too. 5-minute break, and then I'm going to we're going to get on with the homework and what you guys are going to be doing, and then the final critique, because some of you sent me some images in after the deadline. And so, all right, so 5 minutes, and we'll see you back here, and then we'll move on. I'm going to stop the wash here.